Hey, it's the Morning Brew. Good morning. I'm Larry Ahrens, along with our co-host Darren Muffaletto. Really pleased to welcome to our Morning Brew set today Dr. Gail Feldman. Dr. Feldman is a longtime Albuquerque psychologist. She's a clinical psychologist, life coach, author, popular public speaker. You've even been on with Larry King. You're kind of famous,
Wow.
aren't you? Yeah, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
I want to mention the name of your brand new book, From Crisis to Creativity. I love this title. Creating a Life of Health and Joy at Any Age in Spite of Everything.
Yes.
In spite of everything. That's fun.
And there's a lot of everything.
Yeah,
these
there's
days.
a lot of everything going on right now.
Yes.
Happy to have you here.
Thanks so much.
So give us the nugget around everything in the book. What's it based on? How can we find that happiness and balance?
Well, I'll tell you, it's based on a discovery I made some years ago when I was putting together a lecture on bereavement for medical students. And as I was going through the stages in grieving, I realized that they're mirrored by the stages in the creative process, and they're mirrored by the stages in the transformative process of how we recreate ourselves, how we regenerate as we're coming through crisis. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot involved, and it was kind of exciting for me to make that discovery. Mm. It's kind of like learning about how during certain life crises we can become like the caterpillar in the cocoon, just mush. Yeah. And by the way, that's a scientific term, mush. Yeah. And then somehow mysteriously these other enzymes and growth hormones come into play, and we emerge, this beautiful butterfly. So that's what we want to keep in mind when we're going through the hard times.
And men and women deal with stress very differently.
Yes.
What's the big difference, or how do you address that at all between men and women?
I talk about it in my other book, Midlife Crash Course. Okay. But the main difference has to do with hormones. During times of stress, women secrete a hormone called oxytocin, which is the nurturing hormone. And so when things go haywire in the laboratory or the office or wherever, women will tend to hang out, they'll talk about things, they'll cry together, share, and somehow try to make things move along. Now men, because of the testosterone, that inhibits the production of oxytocin. So men will tend to do the fight or flight or escape, avoid, and then maybe just, move out of the picture.
Yeah, I need to go. If I've got a problem or a crisis, I'd rather be by myself and work it out than be with anybody else. Men go into their caves, and women stay by the fireside. Yeah. That's a good way to describe it. But outcomes are usually good if you manage it right.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter how you get there, it's that you get there.
Yeah, and that's the good news. What we've learned from positive psychology is that when we grieve well, when we actually do the work of being with the feelings and not being too afraid of them, but moving that energy through the anger, the sadness, the despair, whatever it is, that's when we can come to the final place of acceptance and moving forward in brand new ways.
So does this book kind of help a person if someone's grieving? Is this book help that person kind of learn how to get past the bereavement stage?
Yes. And one of the there's a chapter on every stage of the grief process in here. And then tips at the end, things you can do, even artistic things you can do to help yourself along the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're visiting with Gail Feldman. Her book is From Crisis to Creativity, and it's a new edition of this out, and we're happy to have you here on the Morning Brew.
Thank you so much.
All right, talk about, you do a lot of life coaching, and when you get with somebody and they want to improve some area of their life or advance their skills in some area, how do you first talk to somebody and discover what's really driving them and what's really hanging them up?
Well, we asked some kind of incisive questions about getting to the nugget of what they really want.
Yeah.
And you know, we all have to ask those questions as we come into midlife. And by the way, we're in a new midlife now. Midlife used to be 10 years during our parents' generation, in your 50s. Now we get 30 years of it. We get our 40s, 50s, and 60s. And we're living so long that we have lots of things to juggle during those years. Sometimes 4 different generations: parents, children, grandchildren, and maybe a partner. So we want to get to the very core of what do they really want? What's the dream? What might they create that they never thought they could before? And then facilitate them in making that happen. And we usually need someone to be our fan club, our cheerleader for that, because most of us, sometimes we haven't even looked at what we really want, let alone had someone help us move toward that and make it happen.
And on that note, your book talks about positive psychology. Now, what is that and how do you apply it?
Great question. Positive psychology is comes to us from Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania, who started researching resilient people, because for such a long time, you know, my area has been looking just at pathology, what's wrong with people. And positive psychology looks at what's right with people. It's strength-based. And that's the major focus. We learned from studying resilient people, and these are people who've come through really, really hard times and are happy and productive, that the one variable in all the research is that these people are optimistic. They have a sense of what we call self-efficacy. They feel they can influence things for good no matter what. So that's what we want to go for.
We read a lot about how it's important to actually fail at some things to learn from success. A lot of people try to avoid failure or avoid mistakes or avoid any kind of adventure that might upset them. But more and more we understand, and I would think as a psychologist we understand that it's actually okay to fail a few times and stub your toe and learn from that experience. It's actually more beneficial.
Yeah, that the problems are not in the falling down, the problems are getting up. And once we do that, we get stronger and stronger. And those times through, you know, grieving the disappointments and so on, we get better. We get better at moving through those feelings faster and really getting to, sometimes that's what leads us to our life purpose.
Failure is essential for success.
Yeah, absolutely. Inventors would tell you that.
Oh yeah, all you have to do is read about Thomas Edison or any great inventor and all the failures they've endured to get to where they really needed to be. You know, Edison's a great story about that.
Yes. And then they know they're one step closer with every failure.
Don't stop digging when you're close to the diamonds, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Now, where's your book? Where can we find it?
The book is on my website, available there. This book is available through Amazon and local bookstores.
Very good.
Have it, yeah.
And if people, you still practice? Do you still see people in town?
I do. I still have a small practice. Here I consult and also do life coaching here and in San Diego.
And you're originally from New Mexico?
I'm originally from San Diego.
Okay.
And I love it there, so I go back and forth now.
Okay. Awesome.
You've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I do.
And lots of speaking around the country and everything. That's what a great life you've figured out here.
It's a great life, yes.
Not bad, not bad. All right, one more bit of advice for our viewers who want to take away something from you and about going from crisis to creativity. What would that one bit of advice be?
Use SOAP. SOAP is an acronym. I do it with 2 S's, but it's S-O-A-P, and S is for being social and being spiritual in whatever ways you do that, because research shows you're healthier and you live longer if you have those 2 things on board. The O is for optimism, as I mentioned before. This is a crucial quality. The A is for appreciation, and we know that when we're appreciative and we're grateful for what we have. That serves us along the way. And the P is for purpose, for life purpose, and being powerfully committed to the work that you do. And those elements, remember your SOAP, that will get you through.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'll write that down.
I'm so glad we could get you on the show, and
I'm glad to.
Please come back and see us anytime.
Thanks. I'd love to.
Please, we would love to have you back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr.
The
Gail
book is out
Feldman,
now.
From Crisis to Creativity, her book here on the Morning Brew. Back in a moment with TV producer Cheryl Brown. Just a moment.